first off, what is Salesforce1? I think most of you guys know that at least know that it's a mobile application, and it's really developed to help you stay connected. I mean, in this day and age, with technology advancing the way it is, it's changing the way that we work, and we need to be connected all the time. I know that I work on my phone on a very regular basis, and this application is really designed to help you do that. Now, something that's important to keep in mind is this is not full-blown Salesforce on your phone. This is a throttled down version of what you have on your desktop. Simply put, there's just too much information in Salesforce and too much going on to have it be efficient on a little mobile phone screen. And so Salesforce1 kind of takes the key components and lets you access them in a user-friendly, simple kind of way. So Salesforce1 used to only be available on iOS and Android devices, and the Salesforce1 application, the one that you download from either the Google Play Store or for the App Store on Apple, that's still only available on iOS and Android, but recently they have developed a web browser version of Salesforce1, so now you can access it on BlackBerries and Windows 8.1 devices as well. There's no download required. It's all web-based, which is kind of nice. It won't be as fast or as responsive as the application on your iOS or Android device, because obviously everything's being pushed and pulled via a web browser as opposed to something directly on your phone. But you still have all that functionality. So again, just wanted to reiterate that for demonstration purposes, some of the functionality is going to be limited because we're using a desktop version of a mobile application. But there is something that I do want to mention for anybody who is a little bit more advanced and does more admin stuff, allowing Visualforce Pages to be accessed on your mobile device and things like that. The desktop version of this is extremely helpful for developers and admins, especially with some of the new features that were released in the Winter 15 release. So I'll get to that stuff a little bit later. First, I kind of wanted to show you, we'll start from the beginning and just get Salesforce1 set up. So if you have a phone and you want to get on Salesforce1, you would go to if you have an Android device, you go to the Google Play Store and download Salesforce1 application. Or if you have an iPhone, you would go to the App Store. If you have a Windows phone or BlackBerry, you would just go to your web browser and go to Salesforce, and it'll take you to Salesforce1. So for those of you who haven't seen what it looks like, I'm going to show you how to access the web version of Salesforce1. This is what's really helpful for developers and admins. So if you take your Salesforce, the URL that you are taken to when you log in, you have kind of a base URL that tells you what server you're on, so na15.salesforce.com. So we'll take that, and you'll open up another browser. I've resized it so it's a little bit more like a mobile phone type display. And you paste that in, you get rid of this end here, and you type in 1/1.app. And if you do that, it's going to take you to your actual, it'll open up in your web browser the Salesforce1 capabilities. So this is what Salesforce1 looks like. So real quick, just kind of walking you through the navigation of this interface. Over on the left-hand side, we have the universal menu icon. If you click on that, the menu will slide out from the left. You have Salesforce standard objects as well as custom objects that you have access to, your chatter feed, custom applications, you have access to dashboards, and then you have other things down here. Now this is going to look a little bit different than what your actual Salesforce1 application will look like when you open it up on your phone, because this is running on a desktop. So just like you would access anything else admin, you go to the Setup button in the top right-hand corner. Depending on the version of Salesforce you're running, it'll either be right here or in your drop-down. On the left-hand side, we used to have to scroll down to mobile administration and make all your changes down here. Salesforce has recently put out this Salesforce1 Setup. And it's really nice because everything you need for Salesforce1 is in this one location. So you have a quick start wizard, which will walk you through the very basics of getting Salesforce1 set up, and I'll actually walk through this with you guys. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all these security access settings and all these different things and kind of explain what you're looking at here so that you understand what needs to happen in order to set up your mobile application, Salesforce1 for your organization. So let's go ahead and launch the Quick Start Wizard, and I'll walk through it really quick and explain what's happening. So the biggest thing, or like the number one thing, is going to be navigation. You need to understand how to navigate the app. And so that's the first thing we're going to be working on here. So you want to customize the navigation menu. So if we come back here, when you come over here, you have, this is your navigation menu, and this is something that can be customized. So if you are accessing opportunities more than anything else, you want to put that at the top. Maybe you have a custom application that one of your Salesforce developers at your company made for you guys, and it's used all the time. Maybe you want that near the top so it's quick to access. And so I'm going to show you how to move some of those things around. So the first step is the navigation menu. Available items are on the left. Your actual navigation menu is on the right. And so you can see you can drag and drop and move these things around. So Find Nearby Client is a custom application. Let's say I want that up towards the top. Let's say I want it at the very top. So we can go ahead and move that. We can hit Save Next. And then it talks about global actions. So global actions are the functions that you want to quickly be able to access from Salesforce1 without having to navigate somewhere special. They're kind of in a transition process. They're coming out with a new way to arrange global actions. So we'll go ahead and explain that to you real quick. Let me show you what these global actions are, actually. So if I go into Contacts, and I'm looking at Rose Gonzalez, notice here at the bottom this stuff popped out. These are your global actions. So I have the ability to make a call. I have the ability to send an email, to create a new task, to create a new event, and if I click this, I'll have more options. So these are all these different global actions that you have available in Salesforce1. So they're easy to get to, and you can do things right away. So as I'm looking at, I pull up my contact, like, oh, I need to call Rose. So I can just hit this button here. It'll, dial into your phone, make the call, and automatically log it in Salesforce. So it's pretty cool stuff. But anyways, you have the ability here to select what global actions you have available. Now, again, on the left is everything that you have available, and on the right is everything you have chosen. You can drag and drop and put things in whatever order you want. Let's go ahead and hit Save Next. Compact layouts. So a compact layout is something specific for mobile, and what it's doing is, because Salesforce has such a plethora of information, it's just not reasonable to expect an end user to be able to digest all of it quickly. I think with everything that we're looking at, there are going to be some items that are more important to look at than others, or some information that's going to be a little bit more pertinent, or you want to be able to find it easier. Those are the things that you would put in a compact layout. So it shows some of the key fields like email addresses and phone numbers and opportunity amounts and things like that. And that's what you're looking at right up here. So it'll put some of the key information at the top of your Salesforce1 layout. So you can actually create those, and you can determine what you want to have shown right away. Let's go ahead and hit Save Next. This just has you review everything, and once you're done reviewing and making sure everything's set up the way you want it to, as an admin, you now have the ability to go out and send invitations to all of your users. So you have, a sales team that maybe you want, one sales team to kind of pioneer Salesforce1 to see if it's something that's going to work for you guys. You can now send an invitation out to that sales team, and they can get going on Salesforce1. So that's the quick start guide, and you can go, or the wizard, and you can launch that anytime and walk you through that setup process, and that gets you started. It won't do everything. So for example, the compact layout, that's only done for one object. I believe it's the contact object. And so now you have to go back and modify those, create compact layouts for the other objects that you want to customize that for. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these security and access settings. So the mobile browser option. So the Salesforce1 mobile browser app, this is what's available on the Windows Phone and BlackBerry as well. But this will enable the Salesforce1 mobile browser app. So if you enable this, somebody on a BlackBerry or on a Windows phone, when they go to salesforce.com and they log in, they're going to be taken to Salesforce1, not the actual Salesforce website. So this may not be something you want to turn on. Maybe you don't have anybody that's using a Windows phone or a BlackBerry, and you have some people that need to actually access full-blown Salesforce from their mobile phone. If that's the case, you're actually going to want to turn this off so that, if I have a Windows phone or if I have an Android phone, I can get on my application, have quick access to things, and let's say that there's something on Salesforce1 that I need to access that I can't get to. Well, now I can go to the web browser and log in and have access to a full website. It's going to be a lot slower, but it'll allow you to kind of, have access to both of those things. So that's something to think about. Let's go ahead and go back here. Notification options. So something kind of cool about Salesforce1 is you have now notifications that can alert you anytime. It doesn't have to be when you're at your desk. Now, there's a few different ways you can have these things set up. You can have in-app notifications, so that means when Salesforce1 is open, you get these notifications pop up that let you know, hey, this is going on. You also have the ability to enable push notifications. So a push notification, what that is, that's actually you push information from an application to your phone. So a good example of this is text messaging and emails. When you get a text message or an email on your phone vibrates or rings regardless of whether or not you're in the application, because it is pushing that notification to your phone and it shows in your notification bar. If all you have is in-app notifications, that's not going to show up. But if you want reminders about, chatter posts or meetings or things like that to come through Salesforce1, and you want it to come through your actual phone whether or not the application is open, then you want to enable push notifications. So include full content and put push notifications. This limits, if you check this, if it's unchecked, it limits the amount of information that's pushed to your phone. So sometimes you have information that's a little bit more confidential. You don't want people, maybe you have somebody else looking at, is playing with your phone, maybe a niece or nephew, and you don't want something confidential information about a client popping up because somebody chats something, does something in chat or tags you in it. Well, then you would want to make sure that this is not checked. If you're not worried about those types of things, then you can come over and enable this, and then you'll have full content in your push notifications. Okay, so the offline sync. This is actually really cool. Something that Salesforce1 has been working with is enabling your Salesforce1 application to have access to certain information regardless of whether or not you're connected to the internet. That's really cool. It allows you, obviously they can't make everything accessible on your phone because you would run out of storage on your phone really fast if you were putting an entire Salesforce database on it. But it will allow you to access like the last 15 things you searched and things like that, which can be pretty convenient for times when you don't have access and you need to check something real quick. So you have the ability to turn that on or off here, and that's what that option is. So customizable parts of the application, you have the navigation menu and you have branding. So we've gone over the navigation menu a little bit. There's a couple more things that I wanted to talk about. So this is the non-wizard version of mobile navigation. And it probably looks a little bit more familiar to you because this is what all of multi-select pick lists in Salesforce, this is what they look like. And so we can see here that we have find nearby clients at the very top. And I don't think I ever showed you that this worked. So notice if I come back, tasks is at the top. If I reload this because I've rearranged things, and now I come over, find nearby clients is now the top thing, the top result in my navigation menu. So smart search items. I get asked about smart search items on a regular basis, and the long and short of it is this is your recently viewed section on your navigation menu. So if I come here and look, I have my recent viewed section with contacts, warehouses, opportunities, and I can show more. And these are the things, obviously, that I have recently looked at. Some people, I get questions about it all the time, and basically all you need to know is if you move the smart search items, if you move it up or down, it's going to move that list up or down. So if I move it to right below find near clients and I save, and I come back and refresh this, and I look at my menu, now my recent is directly underneath find nearby clients. So yeah, that's really the long and short of it. If you want to, maybe you are accessing accounts and cases and contacts and stuff more than you're accessing your Today app or your tasks or your chatter feed, then you can move those up to the top and have quicker access to those things. Okay, branding. So branding allows you to change the color of your Salesforce1 application as well as a loading page logo and a publisher icon. So I don't have a loading page logo or a publisher icon to use, but essentially you'd come up here and hit edit and you would select the logo that you want, and when things are loading, that logo would show up. So maybe you have a small JPEG of your company logo. You can add that, and when pages are loading, that logo will pop up and make things seem a little bit more branded and kind of create a more consistent look and feel between what your people are doing at work and what they have access to on their phone. So let's go ahead and change some of these things real quick. We'll make this so you can see the difference between the brand color and the loading page color. So let's go ahead and save these. Now if I refresh this, so notice when things are loading, we have that yellow, which is the loading page color, and that's where that logo would go as well. So if I'm loading something and you had an image of your company on that load page, your company image would pop up. Now the brand color is the navigation bar up top, right up here. So that'll change to whatever color you specify it. So this right here, I want to talk a little bit about this. So compact layouts, mobile cards, actions, and page layouts. I get questions on this stuff all the time, particularly how mobile cards, expanded lookups, compact layouts, and how they all kind of play together. So real quick, mobile cards, they're a really good way to customize the look and feel of Salesforce1 and kind of improve the user experience. Essentially, all a mobile card is, it's a special page layout section that's specifically for mobile devices. They're not going to show up in a full site, and a mobile card can contain one of two things: an expanded lookup or a Visualforce page. So now, an expanded lookup. So an expanded lookup is a mobile page layout that shows key information of lookup relationships for that object. So remember how we had the compact layouts? Well, this is kind of like a compact layout for lookup objects. So if I come back to here, and let's go to Michael Scott. If I come over to the related list on the right-hand side, I have a lookup right here to the account that Michael Scott is related to. So Michael Scott is a contact. He's related to account. There's a lookup there, a lookup field. And so the compact or the expanded lookup, which is on the mobile card, is displayed right here. And so what I have showing is the name of the account in that expanded lookup. Now I could change it to show address or a couple other things if I wanted to, but that right there, this right here, is a mobile card with an expanded lookup. So when you come here to mobile cards, now you know what you're looking at and what modifying this is going to be doing. Let this page load so you can see what it looks like. Whoa, that is not what we were looking for. Oh, okay. This is showing us just working with records while on mobile. Sorry about that. So with compact layouts and mobile cards and stuff like that, that's all going to be done in the page layout section. So similar to, real quick, before I get to that, one thing that I want to make clear, as of right now, you do not have the ability to have a separate page layout for Salesforce1. What this means is you're going to want to kind of rethink the page layouts that your people are using. So maybe you have people that are very heavily involved in using their mobile device. Usually those are salespeople or service people that are constantly out and doing calls and stuff like that. So for those types of situations, you're going to want to go in and check their page layout and make sure that it is simplified and dumbed down to the point where it makes sense on a mobile device. You're going to want to put the most important fields up top because when you look at something in Salesforce1, you only have access to the first, I believe, 20 fields. And after that, you have to hit show more and then it'll load. So you want to have those important fields, the ones that you want quick access to, up top. So you go into your page layout, and from there you can add compact layouts. You can add mobile cards and modify those things, and those are all options in the page layout section. So Visualforce pages are also accessible on mobile cards in Salesforce1. Now, real quick, just a note on Visualforce pages, things like that. Just because you add a Visualforce page to a mobile card does not mean that you have access to that Visualforce page. So what ends up happening is you add it, that Visualforce page needs to be enabled for mobile viewing. And so make sure, so I get asked questions all the time, I added this Visualforce page to a page layout and it's still not showing up for my end users. Well, that's because, almost every single time it's because that Visualforce page hasn't been enabled yet. So that's just something to keep in mind. So real quick, the last little bit of this webinar, I wanted to go over some of the new features that the Winter 15 release has put out. We've gone over some of them, but Salesforce has the ability to now, so that you can access things offline, and I talked about that a little bit. And another cool feature that just came out is you now have the ability to stay logged into multiple accounts and switch back and forth without having to log in and log out. This is a huge time saver for admins and developers, because sometimes you have a certain profile or a certain person that is having issues and you can't, you're seeing something different than what they're seeing and things like that. And that's where this comes in really handy. When you hit this menu up top, it opens this right here. This little down icon right here opens up this menu. And you have the ability to add now a couple of accounts so you can switch back and forth without having to log in and out. Really, really cool stuff. They also have the ability now, there's something called Lightning Connect that has come out. And what this does is it allows you to have the ability to search data that's outside of Salesforce from Salesforce1. This is incredibly powerful. One of the cool things is that here's an example. So I'm a developer, like I said, and I do a lot of API integration, so I can see how this benefit can work out. And a lot of people, particularly customer support people, have information outside of Salesforce that they need to access on a regular basis. So let's say you have a customer support guy. He's on call to go fix a heater. You go out to the person's house and you realize that for whatever reason you were told the wrong model number of heater. Well, now you don't have anything that you're supposed to have. The information that you need resides in a different database. That information isn't still stored on Salesforce. Well, with that Lightning Connect, now you have the ability to pull out your phone, type in the model number, and search through that database that's not even in Salesforce to find the information you need to fix the heater. So it's really, really cool stuff. I can't dive into it too much more, but it's really cool. Just take my word for it. You also have the ability now to sort list views. So right here, when you're looking at related lists, you have this filter icon, and you can filter what shows up on your mobile device. Another thing that's new in Winter 15 is on related lists, you have the ability to directly modify the things on that related list. So right here, you can see how we have a related list full of opportunities. If we swipe to the right, we have the ability to log calls, add new tasks directly to that opportunity from the related list. So also another huge time saver. As you can see, Salesforce is putting a lot of effort into making sure these things are working for you.